right, everybody, welcome back. We are ready for another deep dive, and I'm super pumped for this one because we're talking about money.
Yeah.
And specifically, how to make that hard-earned cash really work for us.
Yeah, definitely. I think we could all use a little bit of help in that department, right?
Absolutely. And thankfully, we've got a great guide to help us out today. We'll be taking a look at Percy Singo's workbook, How to Make Your Salary Work for You.
That's right. And what's so cool about this workbook is that it's not just some dry financial advice.
Right.
It's filled with these really insightful stories from Singo's own life and his own journey with money.
Oh, that's great. So it's like we get that personal touch, but also the practical know-how all in one place.
Exactly. It's a really nice blend. And one of the first things that Singo emphasizes is the importance of financial literacy, understanding the fundamentals.
So basically learning the rules of the game before you even step onto the court.
Yes, precisely. You wouldn't try to play basketball without knowing what traveling or double dribbling is, right?
Yeah, no way. You'd be totally lost.
Exactly. And it's the same with money. If you don't understand things like budgeting, saving, investing, or even just basic debt management, it's going to be really tough to make smart decisions.
And that's where Singo comes in, right? He kind of breaks it all down for us.
He does. And one of the coolest things he talks about is this idea of optimizing our income.
Okay, I like that.
Yeah.
Optimizing, making it work as hard as we do.
Right. Instead of just thinking of our salary as a way to pay the bills, Singo wants us to see it as a tool to reach our goals.
I love that. And he actually gives some concrete strategies for doing just that, right?
He does.
Yeah.
One of the most popular ones is this 50-30-20 budgeting method.
Oh, yeah, I've heard of that. What's the breakdown again?
So 50% of your income goes towards your needs.
Okay.
Things you absolutely have to pay for, like your housing, groceries, transportation.
Gotcha. The essentials.
Exactly. Then 30% goes towards your wants.
Okay, so the fun stuff.
Yeah, things like going out to eat, entertainment hobbies, travel.
That's where the flexibility comes in.
Right. And then the final 20%.
Okay.
That's dedicated to savings and paying off any debts you might have.
This makes so much sense when you lay it out like that I've got to try this 50-30-20 thing. I've heard about it, but never really dug in.
It can be really eye-opening to see where your money is actually going.
That's so true.
Oh.
And Singo has some great tips on how to track our expenses too, right?
He does. He actually makes it seem way less scary than it sounds.
Yeah, because honestly, sometimes just thinking about tracking every dollar I spend makes me want to hide under a blanket.
I totally get it.
Yeah.
But Singo emphasizes that you don't need some complicated system. You can just use a simple spreadsheet or even just an app on your phone.
Keep it simple.
Exactly. And once you start tracking your spending, you might be surprised by what you discover.
Yeah.
All those little impulse purchases, those can really add up over time.
Ugh, don't even get me started on those online shopping sprees.
Yeah, we've all been there. But being mindful of those little expenses can make a huge difference.
It's all about awareness, right?
Absolutely. And speaking of things that can feel a little overwhelming, let's talk about debt.
Okay, yeah, that's a big one.
Singo devotes a whole section of the workbook to debt management.
He does, which is so important because I think a lot of people feel really stuck when it comes to debt.
I agree. And he has a really clear roadmap for tackling it. He suggests starting by making a list of all your debts.
Okay, so get organized.
Yes, exactly. And include the interest rates and the minimum payments for each one.
Gotcha. So you have a complete picture.
Right. And then he says to prioritize paying down the debt with the highest interest rate first while making minimum payments on everything else.
Makes sense. It's like tackling the biggest fire first.
Exactly. You're basically minimizing the amount of interest you're paying overall.
That's so smart. And I imagine this all ties back into building a good credit score too, right?
Absolutely. Singo emphasizes that a healthy credit score is crucial.
Yeah.
Can impact everything from getting approved for a loan to renting an apartment to even sometimes getting a job.
Wow. It's
Well,
way more important than I realized.
It really is. And Singo stresses that paying your bills on time and keeping your credit utilization low, those are two of the biggest factors in building good credit.
So it's not about avoiding credit altogether. It's about using it responsibly.
Precisely.
Yeah.
You want to show lenders that you're trustworthy?
Okay, I'm taking notes over here.
Yeah.
This is all great stuff.
I know, right? And speaking of making that money work for us, Singo also talks about ways to actually increase our income.
Yes, I love this part because sometimes it feels like we're just stuck with the salary we have.
Yeah, but Singo encourages us to be proactive, to explore ways to boost our earning potential.
So what are some of his suggestions?
Well, it could be anything from asking for a raise or a promotion at your current job to learning new skills through online courses or workshops to even starting a side hustle.
Ooh, side hustles. I love those.
Yeah.
That's something I'm really passionate about. It could be anything from freelance writing to crafting to selling things online. The possibilities are endless.
Exactly. And the great thing about a side hustle is that it can not only bring in extra income, but it can also help you develop new skills and explore different passions.
Absolutely. It's like a win-win.
Yeah.
And another thing Singo talks about that I found really interesting is income protection.
Yes. He's a big believer in safeguarding yourself against financial setbacks.
So basically having a plan B in case something unexpected happens.
Exactly. He advocates for things like having an emergency fund.
Okay.
Having at least 3 to 6 months of living expenses saved up just in case you lose your job or face some unexpected medical bills.
That makes so much sense. It's like that peace of mind knowing that you've got a safety net.
Right. And he also talks about diversifying your income streams. So maybe you have your main job, but you also have that side hustle or some investments that are bringing in a little extra cash.
So if one thing takes a hit, you're not completely sunk.
Exactly. It's all about spreading the risk.
Makes you feel much more secure, for sure.
Absolutely. And one of the things that really resonated with me in Singo's book was his emphasis on having a positive mindset.
Oh, yes. He talks about that a lot. And I think it's so important because dealing with money can be really stressful.
Absolutely. But Singo shares stories about how his own positive outlook helped him navigate some really tough financial challenges. And he argues that when you approach money with a positive attitude, it can actually fuel your motivation and resilience.
It's like when you believe you can achieve something, you're much more likely to put in the effort to make it happen.
Exactly. And I think that's what's so powerful about Singo's book. It's not just about the numbers.
Right.
It's about empowering yourself to take control of your financial future and make choices that align with your goals.
It's about creating a life you love.
Precisely. So as you dig into this material, ask yourself, what's one small step you can take today to start making your salary work harder for you?
That's a great question to leave us with. And remember, everyone, there's a wealth of knowledge waiting for you in Singo's workbook. Happy reading.
Happy reading.